The Garden of Wisdom, the forgotten story of Abu Hanifa al-Dinawari. The sun had barely broken the horizon when the old gardener arrived at the edge of the dusty path, his sandals leaving gentle prints in the soft earth. He carried a small scroll under his arm, its edges worn and frayed from years of touching, reading, weeping. His beard, as white as the morning mist, trembled in the breeze as he stepped into the overgrown garden. His sanctuary, his life's inheritance, and his memory of a man whose name had once echoed through the alleys of ancient Baghdad and the courtyards of Damascus. Abu Hanifa al-Dinawari, the father of Arabic botany, the lost star of Islamic science, and the man who taught the world that wisdom blooms like flowers, in silence, in humility, in devotion. No child played near the garden anymore. No scholar visited. But long ago, this very soil had borne witness to one of the most beautiful stories of knowledge, struggle, and faith. Dinawari was born in a time when empires crumbled and knowledge shimmered like light through stormy clouds. Born in the city of Dinawar in Persia, he was a man of both Arab and Persian heritage, raised on the Quran and the desert wind, nourished by the poetry of nature and the call of science. His heart was both soft and sharp, soft with love for all his creation and sharp with curiosity that refused to sleep. From an early age, he found solace in the gardens his father tended. The boy would sit among the plants and whisper verses of the Quran while tracing the veins of each leaf. Subhanallah, he would say, marveling at how every tree and herb seemed to speak the language of the divine. If this is what a leaf can show me, what must the whole universe be hiding? But life did not bless him with ease. His father died when he was a teenager, and Dinawari's home fell into ruin. The garden, once fragrant with roses and jasmine, wilted in grief. The scent of damp soil now reminded him of loss. Still, instead of abandoning it, Dinawari buried his sorrow in the roots. With trembling hands and tearful du'as, he tended to the plants and scribbled notes on papyrus scraps salvaged from old traders. He had nothing but hunger in his belly and a fire in his heart. Years later, when the scholars of Baghdad first met Dinawari, they saw a man with dusty robes, calloused fingers, and eyes that looked like they had wept for the earth. But what they didn't see was the silent storm inside him, a yearning to connect Allah's revelation with the secrets of his creation. Dinawari studied everything: astronomy, linguistics, hadith, mathematics, and poetry. But nothing pulled him the way the natural world did. While other scholars debated in marble halls, he walked the hills and deserts, tasting soil, smelling bark, listening to the whisper of reeds by the river. One night, while lying under a tree and reading Surah An-Nahl, the chapter of the bees, he broke down into tears. Allah speaks of bees, of milk between blood and waste, of rain and grain and olives. How can we claim to know him and yet not study what he created? He decided then to write a book like no other, a book where plants spoke, seasons danced, and the names of herbs were sung in Arabic for the first time. He called it Kitab al-Nabat, the Book of Plants. But the world did not open its arms to him. When he presented his idea, some laughed. A scholar writing about trees? What benefit is that? Stick to grammar and logic, they said. Others mocked him. This is women's work. Gardens are for perfumes, not pens. Dinawari didn't argue. He went silent. He returned to his garden. There he collected every plant he could find, studying its life cycle, its benefits, its roots, its seasonality. He used his knowledge of astronomy to study how the sun and moon affected crops. He drew maps of regions where specific herbs flourished and studied how desert winds carried seeds to distant lands. He didn't just describe plants. He told their stories. His fingers trembled as he wrote by candlelight. He categorized plants by structure, reproduction, and environmental conditions, centuries before Europe would even invent the concept of botany. In solitude, he wrote what became the first comprehensive scientific book in Arabic on botany. But he didn't stop there. He connected plants to Arabic poetry, to the Quran, to medicine, to agriculture. His work was not just science. It was spiritual, poetic, emotional. For Dinawari, To study a rose was to understand the mercy of Allah. To learn how a seed splits open in darkness before sprouting toward the sun was to witness resurrection itself. But tragedy struck again. During one harsh winter, his manuscripts were damaged by rain. Years of notes, drenched and blurred. Some pages dissolved in his hands as he wept. "Ya Allah," he cried, "I only wanted to glorify you through your creation." He considered abandoning the work. He fell ill. He grew silent for months. But in a dream, he saw himself walking through a heavenly garden, where angels tended trees whose leaves bore Arabic names. He awoke with tears and resolved to start again. And he did. This time, he engraved his memory onto parchment and into the minds of students. He traveled, teaching his love for nature and God's design. His book, though only fragments remain today, laid the foundation for Islamic agricultural science. Long before the Renaissance, before Linnaeus, before even Ibn al-Baytar, there was Dinawari. And yet his name faded with time. Today, few remember him. Fewer read his work. But in that forgotten garden, the old gardener still remembers. Because that gardener was once a child, lost and orphaned, wandering the streets of Dinawari when he stumbled into the overgrown garden of an elderly man who invited him to learn. That man was Abu Hanifa al-Dinawari. And now, the boy-turned-old man returns every morning to tend to the same plants, the same soil, and the same spirit. He often whispers to them, just like Dinawari did, "Subhanallah, how perfect you are, O creator of roots and stars alike." And when young children pass by and ask, "Why do you water these dead trees?" he smiles and replies, "They're not dead. They're just silent, like Dinawari's wisdom, waiting for someone to listen." The story of Dinawari is more than a tale of science. It is a testament to the soul of Islamic knowledge, rooted in the Quran, nourished by nature, and blossoming through struggle. It is proof that you don't need fame to matter. You only need sincerity. And in every leaf, every sprouting seed, every drop of morning dew, there's a sign of the one who created it all, just as Dinawari saw. So the next time you walk by a garden, pause, breathe, and say, "Subhanallah," because you never know, maybe the flower you overlook is whispering the name of a forgotten scholar who once dedicated his life to glorifying Allah through its petals. If you found inspiration in the life of Abu Hanifa al-Dinawari, share this video and revive his legacy. Let the world know that the roots of science run deep in the soil of Islamic tradition. Television subscribe to our channel, Deen in Minute, for more such powerful stories from our Islamic history.